Officer Ryan had searched for his missing K9 partner, Shadow, for 3 months. Posters, patrol alerts, sleepless nights. Nothing brought him closer to the dog he considered family. Most people told him to give up, but Ryan refused. Shadow wasn't just a K9. He was his best friend. Then on a freezing Saturday morning at a crowded town market, Ryan's world stopped. A German Shepherd, dirty, shaking, rope burned, was tied to a wooden pole. Above him hung a cardboard sign, "For sale, $1." Ryan's heart slammed against his ribs. It wasn't just any dog, it was Shadow, his missing partner. But when Ryan ran toward him, something happened. Something so shocking that the entire town gathered. Cameras raised, breath held. And what happened next? No one could have ever imagined. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. Officer Ryan Parker had always believed that losing a partner was the worst pain an officer could face. But losing Shadow, his K9 partner, his best friend, was something deeper. Something that hollowed him out from the inside. It had been 3 long months since that night. The chase through the woods, the gunshots echoing, the desperate commands, and then silence. Shadow never came back. Ryan searched every day, every forest trail, every abandoned barn, every shelter, every farm, every back road. Nothing. People told him Shadow was gone, that no dog could survive alone for that long, but Ryan refused to accept it. Shadow wasn't just any K9. He was trained, loyal, smart, and fearless. And Ryan knew, deep in his chest, that his partner was still somewhere out there, fighting to come home. The sleepless nights, the guilt, the posters he stapled across every street, none of it brought answers. The department gently suggested he move on, but Ryan shook his head every time. "I'll stop when I find him," he'd whisper to himself. Then on a cold Saturday morning, as Ryan was filling his patrol car with fuel, he overheard 2 townspeople talking. "Did you see that dog tied up at the market?" "Yeah, poor thing. They're selling it for $1." Ryan froze. A dog? Tied to a post? Sold for $1? His heartbeat quickened. He grabbed his jacket, jumped into his cruiser, and sped toward the busy weekend market, completely unaware that something there would shatter him to his knees. The town market was louder and more crowded than usual. People bartered over fresh bread, handmade crafts, winter coats, completely unaware that something unimaginable was happening only a few steps away. Officer Ryan pushed through the crowd, his breath tight, eyes scanning every corner. Then he saw it. At the far end of the market, tied tightly to a rough wooden pole, was a German Shepherd, his fur matted, his ribs showing, his legs scraped with old wounds. His head hung low, as if every bit of strength had already been drained from him. Above him, flapping slightly in the cold breeze, hung a cardboard sign, "For sale, $1." Ryan stopped dead. His heart slammed into his chest. His vision blurred for a second. He felt the ground tilt beneath him. It couldn't be. It couldn't be. He stepped forward, slowly, afraid to breathe, afraid to hope. The dog lifted his head at the sound of footsteps. His eyes, tired, glossy, frightened, locked onto Ryan's. And Ryan felt something inside him collapse. Shadow. It was Shadow, but not the strong, proud K9 he remembered. This dog looked broken, starved, abandoned, terrified. Ryan fell to his knees, reaching out a trembling hand. "Shadow, buddy, it's me," he whispered. A small whine escaped the dog's throat, but before Ryan could touch him, a man stepped in front of him, blocking the way. "Hey," the man snapped, "if you want him, you still gotta pay the $1." Ryan stared at the man standing between him and Shadow, disbelief twisting into anger. His voice trembled, not with fear, but with something raw and deeply wounded. "That's my dog," Ryan said quietly. "Move." The man smirked. "Not anymore. Found him wandering. He's mine now. You want him?" $1. Ryan ignored him and stepped closer to Shadow. The dog's ears twitched. His nose lifted slightly, catching a familiar scent. a scent he hadn't smelled in months. His eyes widened, but confusion pulled them back down again. The trauma, the hunger, the cold. It had stolen pieces of him. "Shadow," Ryan whispered, lowering to one knee. "Look at me, buddy." The dog flinched at the sound of his name. Then his head slowly lifted. His cloudy eyes searched Ryan's face, and for a moment, nothing happened. But then, a tiny spark, a barely there tail twitch, a soft, broken whine, a step forward, then another. Shadow pressed his head weakly against Ryan's shaking hands. "Oh, God," Ryan breathed, tears blurring his vision. "It's really you." But the reunion lasted only seconds before the man grabbed Shadow's rope and yanked him backward. The dog yelped in pain. "Hey!" Ryan snapped, standing up so fast the crowd jumped. "Don't touch him like that!" The man's face hardened. "Back off, officer. He's mine. I got papers." Ryan's pulse thundered. Papers. Shadow had a microchip. Shadow belonged to the department, and someone was lying. Ryan stepped forward, jaw clenched. This wasn't over. A small crowd began gathering, sensing the tension between the officer and the seller. Some people pulled out their phones. Others whispered, glancing between Ryan's trembling hands and the terrified dog pressed against the pole. Ryan took a slow breath and stepped closer. "Show me the papers," he said firmly. The man hesitated, just for a split second, but it was enough for Ryan to see fear flicker in his eyes. "I don't have to show you anything," the man muttered, gripping the rope tighter. Shadow whimpered. "You do when you're selling a police K9, Ryan shot back. Gas rippled through the crowd. The seller froze. A what?" Ryan knelt again beside Shadow and gently lifted the collar still clinging to the dog's neck. Beneath the dirt and dried blood was something unmistakable. A metal tag engraved with Shadow's K9 identification number. The crowd erupted. "He's a police dog! This guy stole him! Call someone!" The man panicked. I didn't know. I just found him. I swear." Ryan's eyes hardened. "Then why is his collar halfway ripped off? Why does he have fresh rope burns? And why was he tied up like trash for $1? The man stuttered, stepping back. Shadow began shaking uncontrollably. His eyes darted everywhere. Breathing quickened, panic rising. Ryan placed a steady hand on his head. "Easy, boy. I'm here. You're safe." The crowd parted as someone dialed for backup, and just when things seemed to calm, Shadow noticed something behind the seller, and his reaction changed everything. Shadow's sudden growl cut through the noise like a blade. His weak body stiffened, ears pinned forward, eyes locked on something behind the seller. Ryan turned, slowly at first, then with a jolt of realization. A second man, hiding near a stall, watching them, trying not to be seen. Shadow let out a trembling, broken bark, the kind that came from memory, not strength. Ryan recognized that reaction. Shadow wasn't afraid of the seller. He was afraid of the man behind him. "Hey!" Ryan shouted, stepping forward. "Stop right there!" The man bolted. Chaos erupted. Vendors screamed. People jumped aside. Ryan chased him, dodging tables and crates as the fleeing man knocked down anything in his path. Market security joined the pursuit, and moments later, the man was tackled to the ground. When officers searched him, they found something chilling. A GPS tracking collar identical to Shadow's, cut open with wire marks. The truth snapped into place. The seller wasn't the one who stole Shadow. This man was. He had kidnapped Shadow during the nighttime chase months ago, failed to train or control him, and, fearing police would link the dog back to him, dumped him at the market to disappear for $1. Ryan returned to Shadow just as backup arrived. The dog whimpered and pressed into his chest as if begging never to be taken again. "It's over," Ryan whispered, voice shaking. "No one will ever hurt you again." The crowd at the market fell silent as Officer Ryan knelt beside Shadow, his hands trembling as they cupped the dog's face. Shadow pressed into him weakly, his body shaking, not from fear anymore, but from overwhelming relief. Months of suffering, confusion, and loneliness melted the moment he recognized the only person who had never stopped searching for him. Backup officers secured the scene, But no one dared interrupt the reunion unfolding in the center of the marketplace. Even the shoppers who moments earlier were bargaining and rushing now stood still, watching the fragile dog cling to his partner like a child afraid to lose its parent again. Ryan's voice cracked. "I'm so sorry, boy. I should have found you sooner." Shadow licked his wrist, the same gesture he used to give after successful missions. The crowd's eyes filled with tears. An elderly woman whispered, "He never forgot him." As the suspect was taken away, the police chief arrived on scene. "Ryan," he said softly, "take him home. The department will handle everything else." Ryan wrapped Shadow in his jacket, lifting him gently. The German Shepherd rested his head on Ryan's shoulder, eyes finally closing in peace. For the first time in 3 months, Shadow was safe, Shadow was home, and the entire town witnessed a reunion they would never forget.